All right, gonna start with this. Unfortunately, I just recorded a review of the Thursday night game and the two Friday night games, about an hour's worth, and just realized my mic wasn't like set up properly. So I actually just got a new microphone, and there was no audio for any of it. So that's great. And now I don't know. I just kind of don't feel like doing it all over again. So I just thought I'll just go over some key players, and then if you have any questions about anyone else, then we can look into that. But the fantasy site that's not showing any stats, so we're going to be looking at footy statistics today, which is absolutely fine. But I'll just try and talk about the fantasy relevant players here. So yeah, we'll just crack on with that. Jamie Humphries, great score again. He may lose the goal kicking next week to Latrell, so that's a little string off his bow, but he's definitely one that's still making money, and we can still look to hold him. But losing that goal kicking, I just don't think he's going to be a keeper, unfortunately, but definitely don't have to look at selling him anytime soon. But very good. Colin Tungi got 2 tries for a 70-pointer, but we sort of know he averages around that 50 mark with playing on the edge, and that's about where he's priced, so I wouldn't be going into him there. Jai Gray, he's probably going to be down to the bench next week if Latrell is back, even though he's probably going to be the leading Dalian point scorer. He had another really good game here. But yeah, unfortunately, he's going to be out for Latrell, I would say. Moale picked up a try, but still pretty low minutes, and I wouldn't be too worried about him there. What else we got? We've got LeBlanc, who's around 250k, and he will be about 280 next week. And I think with Hubner coming back, it may sort of keep his role. I think he may even drop off the bench. We'll just have to see. I think Havili might have got injured, or it kind of looked like he was struggling on the field, but I'm not too sure if anything panned out there. But yeah, we'll just have to see how they line up with Hubner back in the team. But LeBlanc is a guy that if he kept playing sort of 30 to 40 minutes, he could be someone that makes us a bit of cash. Elsewhere, we've got Mamazelis. He played nearly the whole game. He got Simbin in the last minute of the game, so he could have been on for a 40-point or mid-40s score there. 2 try assists, so he kind of got saved by those. He did miss 5 tackles, but if he's going to be playing big minutes like this, he's a stronghold for many weeks to come. Who else we got? We had Johnston get injured at half time. Really unfortunate to see. So he's probably going to be out for at least a few weeks. I'm not too sure what the injury is, but probably still needs scans. But we'll probably see Fletcher Myers come back into the team, but that doesn't really have many fantasy ramifications. But that's about it for the Bunnies. Quite a few low scores here, so we'll be watching Cody Walker and Jack Wyden's price, and yeah, everyone else isn't very relevant. On to Penrith, Lindsay Smith got a big score. I think he got a few extra minutes due to injuries here. Sorensen, Cat 1 HIA, only played the 8 minutes. Toto, hamstring injury, only played 70 minutes. And then I think Tolau came off as well, 50 minutes in, but Schneider covered those extra minutes off the bench. Lindsay Smith, I think he's probably going to be like a 50 minute guy going forward. 50 to 55 minutes, 45 to 50 points average, and that's about where he's priced, so I wouldn't go chasing this score. Jack Cole, very handy score though, scored a try, 30 tackles, 117 run meters, very impressed there. Hopefully everyone held on and had him in your loop slot, because yeah, he's finally paid off. The wait has paid off, and it was really nice to see. It really made me happy. So yeah, it was great, and 33% owned. So hopefully everyone got a share of that one. And definitely going forward, I think he's one you still want to probably try and loop, but we can definitely hold on to him a few more weeks. pending he makes the team next week. Hopefully he does. Martin, nice score, 66 with a try, but 2 turnover tackles as well. I probably wouldn't be looking at him. He's just shown over the past sort of 5 years that he's been playing that he's not a gun keeper, but obviously there is a possibility that he can get a score like this. Speaking of gun keepers, we got Isaiah Yeo, who I'd say is someone that you can look at buying any week now. He's priced at about 59 points. After this week, he'll probably be priced at 58 with a 10k drop. 65 here in 80 minutes, solid as you get. And I think if you're a Yeo owner, you'd be pretty happy with that. In a pretty weird sort of game format, he still managed to score really well. So yeah, Leota, I think this is a big outlier score here. He could have even had 70 points if he did get the try that was disallowed, which was looked like a try to me. The grounding was probably better than Jason Saab's grounding against the Warriors in round 2, but we'll move on from that. Wouldn't be looking at Leota. Jenkins, 53. I bought him this week, so I'm really pleased with that. He had a really solid fantasy stats game, 21 tackles, 3 tackle breaks, 3 offloads, 173 run meters, and barely any negatives. So yeah, he looked pretty good. It looks like he'll retain his spot in the side with To'o going down, but even so, before the game, Cleary was kind of talking him up, saying he had a good preseason, played 2 really good games in reserve grade, and he said something like, I couldn't not pick him. So yeah, promising words from the coach, and I think that sort of swayed me to lock him into my team, and I'm really happy I did. So I think next week he'll be a pretty popular buy as well, so I think he's someone you can definitely chuck on your watch list, as Penrith outside backs usually score well. So there we go, and he's really cheap. Yeah, To'o injured, hamstring, could be 1 to 2 weeks here, so probably just wait and see on the time he's going to be out if you do happen to own him. But if it's just 1 to 2 weeks, you'd probably have to hold him there. Elsewhere, fantasy relevant wise, not too much. Tago, 21 and 80 minutes, not much at all. His price is still dropping a lot, and we'll just have to wait for that. Liam Henry and Papali'i, both low minutes still. Papali'i scores a 51 though, Liam Henry a 31, but their prices are still both going to drop this week, and 2 guys I'm keeping a close eye on because they're both gun scorers when they get the minutes. And yeah, elsewhere, not too much to note. Laurie, decent score, but he'll be gone for Edwards very soon. And yeah, that'll be that game. On to the next, we have the Roosters. So Crichton scored really well this week. Hopefully you held on to him and didn't sell him to Haas. I'd say Crichton's a guy that we know what he is. He hasn't started the season too well fantasy-wise, but this is what he can do. 70 points, really decent stat line as well. 6 tackle breaks, 4 offloads to hand, 1 to ground. And yeah, if you did buy him, he's a season-long keeper, and he hasn't shown us anything to say otherwise. So yeah, very nice. Nafahu White, 63 and 50 minutes. So the cavalry of Butcher and Collins returning didn't seem to impact him too much. I think his minutes got capped a little bit here at 50, but we see Collins only played 37, Lenu 42, Steep 12, Savala 14, so it seems like there could be a small changing of the guard here with White. Maybe he's the guy now, one of their main impact players, and I think if you own him, you just keep holding. He's still making great money, and I think I might have said possibly to hold off buying him. I don't know. I probably predicted him to get 40 to 45 minutes in this game, so I got that a little bit wrong. And I think he's probably priced out of being a buy now, but yeah, just got to keep an eye on the Roosters pack, as the minutes just seem to be a bit inconsistent at the moment. We see Wong here, 57 and 66 minutes, so he seems like he may not get the 80 minutes now, but still a 57 is a sensational score. He's going to make 50k this week and have a very low break even next week, but I think, unfortunately, I've missed him as a buy, and it would have been nice to start the season with him, but I think the PTSD from last year is just having him start on the edge and then he got yeeted into reserve grade was just too hard to go back into. But this is what he can do. He's a pretty decent player. If he was playing the 80 minutes, I think he would still be someone that you could look to buy, but in this sort of 65-minute role that we have to assume he's going to have now, I think he's going to be more like a mid-40s average guy, which is going to be about where he's priced at. So I think it's too late on him. Elsewhere, we got Tedesco, 48 points. He had 9 tackle breaks and 220 run meters, so pretty decent stat line from him, just not too many attacking stats. So I think if the Roosters can improve a bit, Tedesco is going to be just fine. Easy hold if you own him, and if you don't own him, I think we're just hoping for one more low score where his price just takes a bit of a hit, and he's going to be a pretty good buy in a few weeks, I would say, if we can get him at a good price. We got Marky Mark, 44 points with a try here. 66 minutes he came off for an HIA and passed. So that's all good. If you're an owner of him, happy days. Keep starting him, and it seems like Billy Smith isn't going to be coming into the side, but next week's a new week, so we never really know. But Toya as well, 38 points here. Pretty impressed with that. Hopefully you started him. 38 from a rookie centre is nothing to sniff your nose at. But yeah, barely any negative stats, which was the difference between this week and last week. And so yeah, his stat line's pretty solid. 21 tackles, 95 run meters, couple tackle breaks in there as well. So yeah, keep starting him, I would say. For now, he's making good money. And then, yeah, sad end for the Roosters here. 20 points for Sandon Smith. He had 5 errors and 2 missed tackles and didn't do too much else. Lucky he got a try assist in there. Unfortunately, he just had a pretty bad game. It wasn't his night. He's going to still make about 10k here, and I think he's a guy where his money making could be almost over, but also I think he's a guy that you definitely don't have to urgently sell. If there's another guy that pops up that's a pretty important buy, then I think Sandon Smith's a guy we can look to move on, but definitely for now, we can probably just give him one more week and reassess after that. But yeah, just most people probably did start him in their 17. It's put a damper on the night really, but it is what it is. He was a 250k buy. We can't expect him to be putting up decent scores every week. We're gonna have to accept this, and that's all right. And then yeah, Lenu down here at the bottom, 16 points in 42 minutes. That's after his 50-minute game last week, scoring 50 points. Yeah, any signs that he might have been a fantasy buy, I think we can probably just ignore him for now. He's going to lose money, and I just don't think he's going to have the role to be worth buying at this point in the season. Moving on to the Titans, their leading point scorer, Jaden Campbell, 64 points here with a try, a length of the field try, so he was probably on for like a mid-40 score, so a little bit concerning if you jumped on this week, but I don't think so. He's going to find ways to score points every week, I reckon, with his solid tackling base and kick meters, 500 kick meters. I wouldn't be worrying at all, and I'd just be happy to have him in your team, and I still think he could be a buy next week, but we'll just have to see if any other guns emerge there. But yeah, happy days for Campbell. Hope if you owned him, you enjoyed that try as much as I did. I was riding him home right until the end there, so yeah, it was really good. Bo Fermor, 50 points in 80 minutes, just solid as game from him, meat and potatoes stuff. Chucked an offload in there, but yeah, Fermor, if you own him, it's great, but he's sort of at the peak of his price right now, and if you don't own him, you'll be hoping for maybe a bit of a price drop before looking to jump on. Brimson, 2 tries here and just the 47 points, so a bit concerning. But then again, you could say the same for Campbell. But the thing with Brimson is he doesn't have that same kicking base as Campbell, and he doesn't have the goal kicking either. So Brimson's probably done enough to warrant being held still, but he's going to stop his price drops. But yeah, just a guy that, you know, if there's someone that you need to sell in order to get a better player in your team, then Brimson's a guy that you could probably look to do that with, but absolutely fine to hold as well. As you know, he looks like he's come into a little bit of try scoring form here, and he's always going to be a guy that's sniffing around the try line. So yeah, one that I'd be fine to hold or sell here. David Fafita, I'd say he scored 46 and 56 minutes here. As soon as if we see him in the starting lineup, I think you can basically insta-buy him. He's still shown that he's got the PPM, and yeah, break-in of 78, so he's going to lose 30 to 40k this week. And yeah, I don't even know if he's going to get a start this season. I'm not too sure what the plan is there, but if he's still sort of easing back in off an injury, he may have had off-season surgery, actually. I can't actually remember, but maybe that's what it is. But anyway, if he gets a start, he'd be someone I'll be looking at very seriously. Let's just say that. Elsewhere, we got Tino, 42 with a try in 63 minutes. The minutes are very promising here. 63 is very good, but 8 missed tackles is a bit of an anomaly here, and I think yeah, just a weird one. He's gonna fall in price for about 20k here. If you do own him, I think you probably have to hold. The minutes are healthy. I think he'll even out to scoring, you know, mid to high 50s in those kind of minutes. But yeah, just not too sure what happened there. I didn't really notice him missing that many tackles, but I was probably had my eyes on other players. But yeah, that's Tino. And then lower down, we've got Tony Francis, 23 points in 80 minutes. So he's actually going to lose money again here, which is just devastating. If you did jump on, he just hasn't really shown anything, and it's just tough because you can't really sell him to anyone because there's no one. He's just not really worth any cash at the moment. So you're probably just going to have to hold him until Campbell comes back. But and hopefully he picks up a try or two for you, and definitely don't look to buy him. And then we come down to Jalen de Groot. If you did watch my video earlier in the week where I sort of said de Groot might be one we want to watch first, he's priced at 23, reserve grade average of 27, so just a guy that we may not want to dive into straight away, and I feel like I've got that one right here, so hopefully you took my advice there. And yeah, I think he's just a guy that we can ignore for now. Look, if they come out and say he's going to be the long-term fullback, then if he starts to show something, then we can look to jump on. But otherwise, I wouldn't be looking to buy him anytime soon. So yeah, that'll do it for that game. Alright, we'll move on to the last game on Friday. Dolphins Broncos. Yeah, Broncos looked like they had this game in the bag for most of it. Dolphins late comeback, but yeah, sort of helped keep Payne Haas probably come back on for a second stint there, so that was handy if you did jump on him. But we'll start with the Dolphins. So Marshall King, decent score, but yeah, not playing that 80 minutes is just he'd only be a buy if he had the 80 minutes, really. I think he'll be priced about 44 here, but going forward, if he's playing that 70 minutes, I see him averaging like 48-ish. So I just don't think he's worth looking at there. Plath, kind of same story. He's really expensive after his decent season last year. Scored a try here, 55 and 50 minutes. I'm not sure if he got injured or if that's just how many minutes he actually played, was going to be playing, I should say. But yeah, it says he lined up a second row, but he definitely played the game at lock there, and Tom Gilbert played in the second row. So yeah, I wonder if next week they'll be named as the same and then swap again, or we'll just have to see. But we probably have to presume that Gilbert is now going to play second row and Plath play lock, but who knows? They've lost 4 games in a row, so maybe they'll try something different next week. Anyway, Safidi, 54 and 49 minutes. He doesn't historically, he hasn't really been a huge PPM guy, but he started the season really well. But he was just one that I couldn't really predict to start like this, and he may be due some pretty average games, but he just looks in pretty good form right now, tackle breaking, 2 offloads as well. But I think probably just a bit late on him, too late to be diving in on him. Farmworth, standard stuff from him. He scored 52 here with 11 tackle breaks, but that's about where he's priced, and yeah, he's just one we have to ignore for now. We got Tom Gilbert down there, 34 points in 80 minutes. Really tough one to take. He finished the night on 42, and then I wake up and he's on 34, and I think, what's happened here? And they've taken away one of his tackle breaks and added on 2 missed tackles, so he had 11 missed tackles. Got to put it down to just being a rainy night, and he was trying to change the game for his team, coming out of the line, being the first guy in the tackle and just falling off. But kind of good for NRL, good for your team to fire up your team, but fantasy-wise, it just hurts so much. And he just kept doing it all night, falling off tackles. But I wouldn't panic too much if I was an owner. He's a guy that, look, he's going to probably not make too much more money very fast, but he's still going to start every week. He's going to play, 50 to 80 minutes, depending if he's playing lock or second row. And he's going to be good for, this is probably a floor game here, 34 points. He's going to be good for at least that. And as we've seen, he can score up to 65. But he'd be one that you can look to move on if someone else emerges. Like if Toby Couchman comes out and plays 55 to 60 minutes today, I can see Gilbert to Couchman being a very popular trade move next week. But we'll just have to wait and see on that. But yeah, don't panic too much on Gilbert. It's frustrating, but he's got the role. It's just he just needs to clean up those missed tackles, and we wouldn't even be talking about it here. So yeah, Fenefuaki only played 60 minutes here. It just looks like that's going to be his role now, and we can't be owning him for that. So he's an urgent sell. At that price, you can definitely be putting your money to better use there. He's just not much of a fantasy relevant player if he's only playing that 60 minutes. And yeah, that's about it from the Dolphins. Nothing too much else to note there. Broncos though, we got Payne Haas leading the scoring, 67 points in 67 minutes. I've already spoken heaps about him in my recording that didn't record the audio, so I won't go too much into it. Just the main points being, the really promising thing here, if you did jump on, is the 67 minutes. It seems like, we've seen it 2 weeks in a row now where he's played the first half, come off in the second for like 15 minutes and then come back on. Even it was only like 8 minutes last week and then 13 minutes here. But, let's just say he plays 65 minutes a week. I think the minutes is really promising, and the fact that he only had 1 offload here to get to 67, in a game where it's pouring with rain, it's not optimal to be trying to offload. Like, you got to try and win the game in other ways here. But on a fine day, like, I feel like he would have been definitely still offloading, and we'll definitely have to wait and see next week and see how that pans out. But it was really promising, and the Dolphins sort of had his number all night. They had 3 tacklers onto him every carry, and he still managed to get 5 tackle breaks in there. He had a nice crab run, which was 2 tackle breaks and an offload, so that was pretty handy. But yeah, Payne Haas, I'd say you should be happy if you jumped on. If you didn't jump on, you should also probably you'll take this as a win. 67 is not the end of the world if you didn't jump on, and it's really going to be next week we're going to see the real repercussions of who you sold to get him and how much is he going to score next week. So yeah, jury's still out on whether it was the right decision. I'm pretty positive about it. I think he was priced at 70. I think, let's just double check that. Jumping on at a price of 71, I was expecting him to average probably 73 to 75 from here on out for me. That's what I was hoping anyway. I sort of factored in how many offloads I think he's going to do, because the rest of his stat line is pretty similar to what we can predict. It's just trying to predict those offloads, and I sort of saw it at about 3 to 4 per game I was hoping for. So say if he had have done 3 offloads to hand here, that would have pushed it up to 75, and that would have been, about what I was hoping for. So yeah, it just happened to be a wet game where he probably was being more conservative than he has been in the first 3 weeks, and that's completely fine. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Haas. Shibasaki had a really strong game. It was tough for me to watch when I don't own him and a couple of my opponents do in head-to-head. So he got 2 tries here, 9 tackle breaks, 187 run meters, very impressive stat line. And yeah, happy days if you own him. I think he's going to be too expensive to jump on now. There's going to be better options out there, like Katoga, Jenkins, guys like that probably. But yeah, I think easy hold if you own him. He's going to be delivering for you for the next month or so, I'd say at least. And a guy that you'd probably be looking to start week to week as well. Elsewhere, we've got Carrigan. He's going to be a guy where if Haas goes down, we can potentially just do Haas straight to Carrigan, because he'll probably pick up the slack there. But at the moment, his role is not very fantasy relevant at the price. Pakes got another try, dart from dummy half over the line, so he'll make another decent chunk of cash here. But yeah, without the try, he'll be scoring in the mid-30s, and he's probably got a few more weeks of cash making before you can look to move him on, but I wouldn't be looking to buy. Reynolds was spoken about a bit this week as a potential buy, and I think I said that I probably wouldn't look to jump on, just for the fact that historically he will look to average around 53 for the season, and he was already priced up around that price point as well, in the mid-50s. So yeah, just 45 points here. Hopefully you didn't jump on, but if you did, it's not the end of the world. He's still going to be scoring well. It was more for the fact that he's sort of injury prone, but yeah, not the end of the world if you jumped on, but safe to say he's definitely not a buy next week. We got Gashevsky. He got 72 minutes here, so we're still trying to get our head around how Pierre Kerr is going to be used. So he came on with 20 minutes to go in this one, and Gashevsky still stayed on until the 72nd minute. So Madge might be sort of going with a gut feel kind of play with Pierre Kerr, some kind of impact in the end of the game. So Gashevsky, one that I recommended to sell this week, but if you didn't, it's paid off. And yeah, if you had to start him, 38, you'll take that any day of the week. But I think going forward, he's a guy that you're probably going to want to put in your loop slot as well, because yeah, it's just tough to trust. If he's going to be using Pierre Kerr unpredictably. So yeah, he's a guy that he's going to make you 20k here. His break even is still going to be fairly low next week. So yeah, if you sold, I wouldn't be too upset. Like, it's just, even if you still owned him, you'd sort of be worrying week to week about what he's going to do. But if you sold him, hopefully you picked up like a Jenkins or a Katoga. So hopefully not a De Groot. But yeah, that's Gashevsky. And then we move on to Reece Walsh. So 34 points here. His break even is 73. So he's still getting very cheap here. His break even is probably going to be between 50 and 60 next week as well. So he could still lose another decent chunk of cash. He looked okay in patches here. He got a try assist, but still does not look like, the classic Reece Walsh form, the scintillating origin fullback. But yeah, he's a guy where we're going to have to keep a very close eye on him. And as soon as he shows glimpses of being back to that high 40s average guy, I think he's going to be someone that we need to get into our teams pretty quickly. So, yeah, that's Walshy for now. Just avoid him for now, and we'll wait and see. And then, coming down to the bottom here, nothing really relevant to note, except for Pierre Kura. He's going to be down at about 250k next week, and if he ever does get a start, I can't see him getting a start just yet, but if he does get one in the next few weeks, he's a guy we can look at buying as like a cash out that also is playing. But yeah, just being able to trade one of your cash cows down to a 250 guy that's starting on the edge for the Broncos, it's something that you probably will look to do. So there we go. That'll wrap up the Friday night games, and yeah, looking forward to Saturday night games in 3 hours time.